Welcome again, and now we will start this other roundtable on green finance and international cooperation. And let me introduce our speakers, who I welcome to this conversation. So Scott Burgess, he comes from England. This is the founder and CEO of Joywave, which is a talent-led fundraising platform to support grassroots conservation initiatives globally. At my left, Marco Galinha from Portugal. He's the CEO of Grupo, which he founded some 20-something years ago and has more than 50 companies in many sectors, different sectors such as logistics and distribution, industry, innovation, real estate, and sustainable solutions. We'll talk about that later on. Stefano Antonelli from Italy is the Chief Representative, Italy Office of Global Market Sector at Dubai Chambers, and Maria João Veiga Gomes. She's the Director of the AICEP Academy, where she is responsible for the business training area and management of the Inov Contact International Internship Program. Welcome, all of you, and I'll start by asking you, why are you here? Meaning that what's your background besides this short presentation that I just did, and in what way do you relate to green finance and international cooperation? Starting by you, Marco. It's just one of your expertise areas.
So, Bell Group is based on logistics. We have 23 years. It's a company that 90% of the transactions are based on logistics. We make 120,000 delivered per day, almost 48,000 kilometers per day. That's around to the planet every day in this small country, and it's quite complex. And we try to do it, and even with a target that to be carbon neutral in 5 to 7 years. So that's a huge effort, but we start to do all these sustainable programs much before that the world wake up about the call of sustainability. So we start this since the day one, and today is not about to be sexy as the word sustainability is, because it's profitable, it's generation imperative. This change is about economic and social, and is about to bring value to society, and that can create a lot of value in our employees. People are committed to creating value to society. Of course, we must understand this is not sometimes not so financial amazing, but that's only in the beginning. But in the middle and long term, it's the best decision ever we have taken in the last almost 20 years.
Stefano.
Yeah, thanks, Pedro. My name is Stefano Antonelli. I'm Chief Representative for Italy, Spain, and Portugal at Dubai Chamber. Dubai Chamber is a public entity of Dubai, established by the Dubai government to represent the private sector in Dubai and to facilitate the cooperation with the Emirates. Our aim is to sustain and facilitate the cooperation, the mutual collaboration with Dubai companies and foreign companies. So the office that I have the privilege to manage has the goal to facilitate all the discussion on the ecosystem on Portugal and with the ecosystem of Dubai. And why we are here? We are here because we have been in touch with Planetiers since some time. We have identified that this is Planetiers what has achieved all of these years to create a platform, very innovative platform of dialogue for entrepreneurs, for network of companies that I have the honor to meet in these days, like Marco here, and we understood that Portuguese company has a great vision with regards to sustainability and a global vision on the development of the business. So we are here to create the condition for bringing the Planetiers platform in Dubai, hopefully, and also to establish a dialogue with the companies of Planetiers network with Dubai for seeing joint opportunities, not only in Dubai, but also in other markets.
Thank you. João.
Hello, thank you. I'm in a different role in a way. I must say I'm not a specialist in anything related to ESG, so it's an advantage because the thing is, we are an academy that trains companies towards internationalization and investment, being a part of a national body called AICEP, which is responsible for promoting Portuguese exports and support inward investment to the country, and also, as you said, Pedro, to an internship program called Inov Contact, which is a program that sends young graduates abroad for a 9-month period to international companies. Having said that, what we realize is that more and more in our capacity building programs, there's a need and increased interest, of course, in all the matters related to sustainability, especially in the last 2-3 years. So we started to build and design lots of programs, some of them together with Planetiers as well, around sustainability. We designed several programs with universities, with companies, with consultants, and it's been a long journey, a very interesting journey, and we designed many programs, detailed and designed in a case-by-case situation according to specific needs for each stage of a company, whatever it is in the internationalization stage they are in. So there's lots of opportunities. We see that there's an increased demand on these programs, on these training programs, and we are willing to cooperate with everyone that is willing to. So we are more on the training side and establishing networks with universities, with the alumni of all the universities and so on. So we are here especially on that area. So in a nutshell, that's it.
Thank you. And Scott?
Thanks, yeah. I mean, I definitely fit into a slightly different area again with regards to this subject. Really, it's what we're doing at Joywave. I'd be surprised if anyone's heard about us yet. We're pretty new, but I'd say growing pretty quickly. What we want to do really is connect consumers with really impactful grassroots conservation initiatives. Probably the kind of initiatives that you've never heard about. You know, we're not raising funds for large charities, whether it's, you know, WWF or Surfers Against Sewage. It's really like local groups that struggle to connect with consumers who are typically looking for solutions. So when it comes to, you know, finance, really for us, it's all about mobilizing capital by connecting consumers with these projects that they want to support so that they can have a really tangible impact when it comes to nature protection. And then in terms of international cooperation, partnerships is really at the heart of everything we do. We run campaigns which are essentially like talent-led or celebrity-led. So yeah, we team up the talent with various brands and what else? Like there's like a whole ecosystem basically that comes together to create these fundraising campaigns. And so whether that's with creators or tourism boards or brands or celebrities, whatever, to ultimately build a brand that can connect consumers at quite a large scale with really impactful grassroots conservation initiatives.
So it's quite a diversified panel, and everyone, each one of them is open to your questions. So, like in the previous panel, just raise your hands along the way, and a microphone will get to you. But before that, Mark, back to you. You just mentioned that you took some of the wisest decisions of these 20 years. Just to understand, what's the importance for you of integrating green finance practices in your company's operations?
So it's based in our core. It's based, the reason I create Bell Group is not because I'm seeing that on the news, that is the, we must change. I create the company with these roles and with these values. And that was the best decision I took ever. So we tried always to focus first, bring value to society. This is quite hard because today the market is very greedy, even the financial market. They want financial results. No one, 90% of them, they are very sexy with words, but they don't do walk the talk. Our biggest effort is to bring value to society. With that, we have the smartest brains. People understand the focus of our company, of our creation. And today, I'm really happy with that because it was the best decision we took ever. We took this decision in the foundation of the company. Of course, we have to join the smartest people from universities, from Coimbra, from Lisbon, Academia Militar. At the end, this is like orchestra that each person play on instrument and we all together do Bell Group. Was a very risky decision. We suffer a lot, it's true. The market was not prepared, even the financial market, for a company with this change of paradigm, but was a generation imperative, was based on economic, on social, and today's sustainability can be profitable, and we are a live proof of that. So was a decision that protect the company in the long term. If you want a company in short term, medium term, don't take that decision. If you look for long term, that's the best decision to bring value to society, because people today are very open and they look for the walk the talk. Most of people are very good in words, but in acts, it's quite different. I don't see too much companies doing these acts, walk the talk. I see a lot of greenwash, but for my conscience, I just took the best decision.
So, greed versus creating value. You do invest yearly, on a yearly basis on sustainability.
Yes.
And when you do that, can you tell us a number just to...
So we invest in the last 2 years and a half, like 25 million euros. Was quite hard because we took cash from the company, we do part of the loan, and was a decision that put in risk the multiple. You, Pedro, better than no one, you know this multiple of EBITDA, net debt to EBITDA. The banks make a lot of pressure. The banks don't look if you make a lot of pollution or if you have the right levels. Today is not very fair because they start looking to that. But my decision was risky because it was a lot of money in solar, more than 200 cars in electric vehicles. The supply are based on solar energy. In terms of profits, you can see that in medium long term, but part of the loans, when you do these big investments, the maturity, we are talking about 3 years. 3 years, 4 years, and
that's too short.
Yes, too short. We need a grace period. Otherwise, I'm not talking about large companies of Portugal, but the small, medium cap, they will suffer a lot. And they will not do it. Because if the financial system don't look to us in a grace period and investments, I will say 7 years to 10 years, it will not work. We suffer a lot when we start make all this changing. Because you take risks. Today is more profitable, but I only succeed because I have my own cash to support that change.
Stefano, regarding Dubai, tell us more about Dubai as a global hub for business. How does it work? How can it work? What can we learn from your views and experience?
Thanks, Pedro. Just one word on what Marco has just said. Just recall that in terms of sustainability, a huge milestone for Dubai, but let's say also for the Middle East, were Expo. Expo gave the chance to really change perspective in many topics towards sustainability. Sustainability not only in an ESG perspective, but in a wider SDG perspective. So a strategy were developed, and what I like here to highlight is that the strategy was more than a strategy for an event, was a strategy to reshape many things of the society, either in the public and the private sector. So the strategy, the vision that was developed for the Expo was really a unique experience for getting to Expo. So even the Expo site was built with the idea of what to do after Expo, but during Expo and after Expo, and talking about COP, what's happening in COP and the impact the last COP had on the negotiation all over the world, that was an idea to create the vision, and that's what UAE and Dubai has specifically worked on all over the years, to develop a strategy that was useful to see opportunities not only for a part of the health, so not only for the local markets, but on a global perspective. And that's how the sustainability comes to us as a useful platform of dialogue, because the opportunities that Dubai have created is to, with the presence in Dubai, you can also see opportunities in other markets, not just related to the local markets, because the entrepreneurs there wanted to, develop a strategy that it's going even far from their homeland. So the Global Hub, what does it mean? It means that apart from making business for the local market, that it is the first target, but the second target, that's mostly also the most interesting market, is to see which are the opportunity to address other markets like Africa or Asia from Dubai, because Dubai has invested a lot into logistics. We know how logistics plays a crucial role for our economy, and so the connectivity that Dubai has built all over the years give you the possibility to connect easier to Central Africa, South Africa, and Far East in a way that the business can be connect, not just the goods. So this is another way where Dubai is very strong. And so it's the challenge for us is we are the entity entitled to facilitate the talk. And as Madame Gomes has said for her institute, that's really a primary challenge for all of us to facilitate, to find the right tune, to facilitate the different ecosystem to talk together. Because there might be some difference in the cultural approach. So Portuguese entrepreneurs may be used to do business different from what Emirati does. Or there might be something in the middle that can not got the business flow easily, as we were speaking earlier with Marco. So the challenge that Dubai has put is to highlight how to improve constantly this process. Dubai has awarded to be first rank in many things, but as I always remember, that's not a result, so a destination to be, but another point to start from. And sustainability was another starting point for Dubai to look into this field as a first step and to develop a business accordingly, because that was Dubai vision is very useful to see what it works. And as sustainability has proven that bring results and works, so now the vision is to put on the ground and see what is the process that can improve this system. So that's what I think is more related to Global Hub in terms of sustainability with Dubai.
Maria-João, you just explained before that you get in touch with a lot of alumni and young people and so on. What do you find that there are the ambitions and their anxieties? What do you sense that these people that you deal with are most motivated to address?
Yeah, let me just tell you that this is really a challenge because it's a point that it's a value. It's really a value that we have. Let me just tell you an example what we have been doing with this and how we can strengthen this through a concrete example in terms of sustainability. This is an internship program that takes 6 months, but now in this edition, 27th edition, that it's taking place, it's starting in December, it will be enlarged to 9 months abroad. And the students have a task, an assignment that is to do a final work together. And because we were also doing simultaneously programs to companies, as a matter of fact, we have several programs in our platform, in our academy, that I invite everybody to visit because they are there for you to train, and they are synchronous programs due by Instituto do Conhecimento de Aveiro from Global Compact, and you can go there and frequent these programs. In fact, there are already 2,000 companies that are training on these programs, more than Spain, to be honest, because just curiosity also, Spain has done a program similar to this, and they had around 800 companies. We have already 2,000 companies, which is good in 1 year period. Now the challenge is what we are going to do with these 2,000 companies in next steps. But going a little bit backwards, with this network of trainees, we had this task, which was this assignment, and what we did is they are spread all over the world in more than 50 countries, and we said, well, go to work in groups according to your regions, and do a work video, podcast, whatever you want, about sustainability regarding the companies where you are training at this moment. And then we got some, we classified these works and make prizes and so on. And this is a way of putting awareness in this program as well, and making the dots together. Mm-hmm. And for us, it's much more putting sustainability as part of a strategy, and companies being aware that this is more in their strategic ADN, more rather than a tick in the box in their report. And this is really our task for them to see that it's rewarding, not only as of course we have programs.
So to persuade them that
yes,
it is
we have programs, and as a matter of fact,
it does have a financial return, and
yes,
it does.
We have a program. We are designing a program in partnership with Universidade Católica regarding specifically financing, sustainable financing. But it's not really our point just to have this the report or so on. It's just being aware of the fact that they will be much more competitive if they start to to think in the beginning of sustainability as a strategy that it's in a long term something that will be that will be contributing to the value added. And so we started also with the network of the Inov Contact program and all things being in this network that we feel that will be in a positive way contributing to the society, and so that's the way we work. Really.
Scott, you bring together celebrities and brands in order to drive consumer donations to nature protection initiatives. So you deal with consumers and you mobilize consumers' money, euros, dollars, whatever. What can we learn from your experience? What are the, let's call it the secrets, or the key factors to mobilize consumer dollars?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we really went into this with, I mean, my background is not in environmentalism, it's not in sustainability. I really just come at this from the approach of the consumer. I would consider myself part of the 90% of people who, if you stop someone on the street and say, oh, you know, you're an environmentalist, do you believe in the climate crisis, do you believe we need to solve it? You'd say yes. And if you ask, you know, what we're doing about that as consumers, I'd say, oh, you know, I have my reusable water bottle, I recycle, I shop, you know, secondhand clothing, everything like that. But really, when it comes to positively and proactively contributing to nature protection, that was just something that I would never have gone out of my way to find. You know, I knew that charities existed, but I wouldn't have known which one to donate to. I wouldn't have gone out of my way to try and find out that information. And I think that's the case for the vast majority of consumers. And so there are loads of amazing organizations already for the, I suppose, like the 1% of people who really want to go out of their way to make a difference. We're trying to create something that is really for the 90%. You know, I like to think of it a bit as in terms of other sort of pillars of environmentalism. You know, when it comes to transitioning from like petrol and diesel cars to electric cars, you know, you've got the Prius that comes out first, and it's great for people who really want that as a bit of a status symbol. Maybe in LA, and you're like, I really care. I don't care if it's a pretty like a not great car. Like, I'm still going to do this because I want to make a difference. And the Tesla comes along, and it's like the fastest car on the market, an affordable car on the market. Suddenly that's something that everyone can get on board with. It's about making it very easy and very accessible for everyone. So that's the key challenge for us, is how do we get the 90% of people who care but really don't go out of their way to make a difference, how do we target them? And so that's why we've got the focus is really on the brand, and it's on these celebrity partnerships. So for example, you would see, if you're following, I don't know, like, we're not quite at that level yet of like the A-list, we're like nearly there, but maybe you follow like Zac Efron or someone like that, and you'll see this big campaign that says, oh, like Zac Efron really cares about protecting, I don't know, let's say polar bears, for example, right? And it's like, you know, it's like a major crisis, we've got to protect polar bears. There's a really great organization that's doing amazing work. We're organizing an experience, like an expedition, a Joywave expedition, to go to the Arctic, and we're going to see polar bears, and we're going to learn about them. And it really turns conservation into this very exciting experience that people can get on board with. And that's the way that's sort of, I guess, like our thesis. That's really what we believe, how we can mobilize those dollars. And once we do have a really large community of consumers around the world, that will make it easier to then mobilize like corporate dollars as well, in terms of getting brands involved and various government agencies who want access to that base of eco-conscious consumers. So the lessons that I think we've learned so far, it's been surprisingly, when you align people's incentives, it's really, really easy to get a lot of traction very quickly. I would say it's probably the big one. Like, people say all the time, they're like, oh, how do you get, you know, like influencers and celebrities and whatnot to want to do campaigns with you? And it's really quite easy. Like, they essentially have an agenda, which is they want to engage their audience. They don't want to just be selling out, saying, hey, you should buy this, you know, shoe or this juice or whatever it is. We're saying, you know, this is something that you really care about, but you don't want to be seen to be greenwashing. You don't really know exactly what to say when it comes to environmentalism. So everyone's really got their particular, everyone's got something that they want to say. Everyone's got their own agenda. And if you can just piece those together, I mean, with our first campaign, we hit 700 signups in the first 5 minutes of launching, and it eventually got like 3 million views.
700 signups?
Yeah, so basically saying to people like, oh, this is like a waiting list, would you like to join this experience? And we had 0 audience of our own, but we had, like 700 signups in the first 5 minutes, like 2,000 in the first day, and it got like 3 million views, that one, something like that. So I think it's just about, and that's completely bootstrapped. Like, it's literally like we haven't spent really anything at all yet. Everyone's kind of doing this for free, really. All the celebrities, no one gets any money from it. All the creators, no one gets any money from it. It's not necessarily the bigger scale thing at the moment, but yeah, when you really align people's incentives and really, I suppose, put yourselves in their shoes, that's the biggest thing for me. It's just been, how do I get better at bringing these partnerships together? So if we can leverage everyone's collective audiences or abilities or whatever it is, we can really make exciting things happen.
Mm-hmm. And is it trust an issue too? So that people wish to, so transparency, accountability, I suppose that's important too.
Absolutely, yeah, like trust and tangibility are like the absolute pillars of, I think there's really 3 pillars where under our, like my co-founder, John, he's our Chief Impact Officer, and there's really 3 things that he's responsible for. One is building trust through transparency. People want to know exactly where their money's going. They want to see what the impact is, which is a really interesting challenge in itself, because there are so many platforms out there already where, as a consumer, if you said, oh, I want to plant trees, there are very simple ways to say, I want to donate $5 and that's going to translate into X number of trees. But really what we're about is looking at and challenging much more, I suppose, like deeper goals when it comes to social goals and biodiversity goals. So let's say, for example, we've just finished a campaign with an indigenous-led reforestation group in Australia. And really for us, if we raised X amount of money for them, we're not going to go to them and say, right, so that we can make our marketing easier, we need all of this money to go immediately towards planting trees. So we can say, your money went towards planting that tree. Because the reality is, in terms of the cultural impact and the social impact of the work that they're doing there, it might be more effective for them at that particular moment to say, you know what, we've got this teenager who, they're part of this indigenous community, and we want to recruit them into this organization so they can actually be a part of this reforestation project. And that might cost the same amount of money as like 1,000 or 2,000 trees over the course of a few months. And but ultimately, it's that's the best use of funds for them. So really, that's the biggest challenge that we have, is how do you make that very marketable? It's very easy to say, oh, your dollars are just going to be planting trees or planting coral reefs or whatever it is. But really saying, actually, that might not be the best use of your money. So the way that we do that is really through storytelling. It's through really long-form content, and that's what we're all about, is trying to find really extraordinary stories that people can connect with.
Okay. We're halfway our roundtable, so should anyone have any questions, just please raise your head, raise your arm, and I'll be alert. But before that, Stefano, more on international cooperation. I want to go there. What's the role of international cooperation in green finance? What can we and you do in order to promote that and put forward?
Yeah, it's a good question, because we understood that, there are things to do, but how to do. So I had the chance to meet a lot of amazing companies here in Portugal, part of Planetiers network. I understood how strong is the vision among these companies when it comes to business and their sector. They know what to do and how to do, definitely. The thing is, what you do when you go outside your domestic market, outside where the rules are different, the ecosystem are different, not just the language, just all the way that you approach business, the way the compliance, and how do you deal with that? So, and I come from Italy, we have almost the same issues there. We have huge histories, as you are here, maybe you have also huger as a nation than us, and definitely how you deal with this part of the world that is pushing the strategy on the agenda, on a worldwide agenda. What's your role to play to that? So you might decide to just sell goods there. That's what many does. So they just rely on somebody locally, and they just sell the goods, okay? This is, of course, opportunities, and there are huge opportunities that, but not we are here for. And actually what we mean by international cooperation is that ecosystems meet each other, not just you sell goods there. So the difference that you have to be in a dialogue, so you have to see how to cooperate, so how to talk with this ecosystem. So what we do, actually, we try to, we were established for one specific goal that Dubai leadership has defined, to be the place to have a global growth of the business. Concretely, so our organization has the goal to make an impact on this effectively. So just not here to sell the idea, we are just to bring results. So how you do that? And so how to support the foreign company to have a global growth through Dubai, via Dubai. So that's we are here for. So of course, we start from listening to those companies, either if they are MNCs or SMEs, who have a vision, a global vision, because that's what we miss in Europe mostly, to have entrepreneurs that has a vision and they want to go beyond their borders. So these, we discuss with them and we support them to arrive in Dubai, land in Dubai, and be part of that ecosystem. So to support the position of these companies, because they are not just start-upper, but if they position not correctly, they will act as start-uppers there, even if they are huge companies here. So the positioning is very important, and we give them all the support to bring their expertise, to bring themselves in the ecosystem. Because you might, before you sell something, you might be needed for what you know, for what you have developed elsewhere. So this is the key part of the conversation for getting bigger opportunity, and also to deserve the complexity to change your ecosystem. Okay, otherwise you don't need to go there. Okay, you just stay where you are. But if you do that, then of course you will start with your expertise to be part of an ecosystem, to see what is needed, to dialogue with them. Remind that entrepreneurship should be a process, so a process to dialogue with the market, to see the potential, and to partners, maybe with others or not. But by the way, to do this, and UAE was, the strength of UAE, what I've seen from my perspective is the vision of the partnership. So as this, we facilitate this, and as we act on with the mandate of the government of Dubai, we we don't charge anything. All our activities that are market analysis, B2B, trade missions, all this support is completely free of charge. So we definitely want to make an impact to this company and to make these global development plans effectively.
So to help them, to help the companies to position effectively in Dubai, otherwise things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marco, the same question to you, but regarding your main sector, what's the role of international, or by the way, national cooperation in order to promote the efficiency and the sustainability of logistics and distribution chain?
So let me explain in a different way. I think Europe, we are one of the most advanced continents in the world, but we must not forget that we only produce 8% of all the emissions of the planet. Today we live in the kind of new multipolar world. So, of course, there are some countries that don't care so much as Europe, and we can lose competition if we want to work with our paradigm, in our way of working. In some nations, we can lose. I'm not talking about Emirates because they are very advanced on that. It's like a flag of the government. But there are some countries you lose efficiency if you want to have these roles. But it's my understanding that Europe is so small because they've done an amazing job, that the results are only 8% of the emissions of the planet, is my understanding. But if you look to US, in the next week, the government can start working in rules, in values that is completely opposite in our values. To be true, we live in a very multipolar world that we don't know if we are losing capacity to run our companies, to be profitable, and compete with the competitors that we have international. But if we look for today from US and Europe, I believe I don't feel any difference, because America is a very advanced market and they respect all these values. Or sustainability is not only is about governance, is about compliance, it's about a lot of things. It's, for my understanding, is the only way to grow, is the only way to creating value. But today we live in a very unstable planet, but my decisions to invest in the future, it's only in the countries that have the same values and the same finish line that we have today. It's my understanding.
Thanks. We have a question from the audience.
You working? Yes. I guess my question is for anyone, just kind of in a general discussion. Loosely interpreting green finance and international cooperation assumes a certain amount of, capitalistic society that requires manufacturing goods or services and selling them to another country. And, a lot of that mission has been what has gotten the world into the situation that it's in. And there's a lot of talk about deglobalization, being a better path, more sustainable path forward for the world. But also there's an enormous need for developing countries to get resources. Everyone should have access to equal rights, and that unfortunately takes money. And so I'm curious to anyone's thoughts on a path that allows countries to sustain themselves, but also does it in a sustainable way that doesn't further complicate problems by shipping things back and forth across the ocean, dumping diesel all over the world.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Anyone?
Maria João,
No, not necessarily. I don't have much to add. Regarding the impact, I would like to say that, we all make impact on our jobs, and internationally speaking, AICEP being an entity that works internationally, we try to do that on our side as well. And the question is really, when you do something, what is the return in terms of impact on what you're doing? Because we do a certain action, deliver a certain product, a certain service, and it's okay, but it's consumable. It's just at that time, but in the long term, it's what we need to evaluate, and sometimes it's just the immediate impact that we see, and not the long-term impact, and that's much more difficult to evaluate. And even for us in our programs here in these ESG programs, we see the companies that we have that have been assisting to our programs, and internationally we have been impacting immediately. but we don't know exactly what will be the long-term impact of what we are doing. So it's really too soon in a way, and on the other way, we really don't know what we are doing here. So I think it's. I wouldn't be so quick on taking conclusions on what it's the impact, because sometimes we tend to measure only on the short term, and we really don't know what will be the long term of the things. So it's don't be too precipitate on that.
Yeah.
You wanna
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly tangential to your question, but rather than, I mean, ultimately, a big challenge that we're facing is a bit of a contradiction is that we are encouraging people to fly, to travel, you know, which is slightly, like I said, tangential to your point, but for us, it's really about just accepting that reality. Like, the best thing for us to do would be to say, everyone just stay where you are, don't fly, don't travel, but fundamentally it's just, it's not going to happen, and especially as more and more people can afford to travel, for us it's simply just about accepting the reality of that and trying to do what we can to, whether that is, next year, for example, we've got a campaign that is in Norway that is exclusively available for people within Nordic countries, and the narrative that we're telling is about exploring your own country and things like that. So for us, it's really, as I think with a lot of sort of the broad scope of environmentalism in general, like anything that's consumer facing, it's just a marketing challenge, really. So yeah, accepting the reality of something and then trying to make it as positive as we can. So if you are traveling to a certain part of the world, what can you do to actually leave it in a better state than the way you found it? Or if we're trying to encourage people to travel within their own countries. So yeah, that's sort of my take on that.
And Scott, back to cooperation. You are an expert, I believe, also in partnerships, because you do them a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely like the area that I bring to the table. Is I really sit in the middle and say, right, if we want to create a campaign, which is really fun, to be fair, like if we just have an idea, like, oh, that would be, do you think we could get that person to lead a campaign about that? It always starts with one particular point. Maybe there's some like a talent, like influencer or celebrity who comes to us with an idea, or maybe we find so for the next one, for example, will be in the Philippines, and that was a conservation project, a reforestation project that approached us and said, we're trying to protect the last remaining 3% of pristine rainforest in the Philippines. Like, can you help us like fundraise for this project, because they're a not-for-profit? And then yeah, from there, it's literally about like pulling together all of these organizations from all across the world, really. So yeah, I don't know if you have a specific, yeah, like, it's fun though.
Yeah, we're almost finishing, but Mark, you have very straightforward opinions, like we've witnessed just now. And even regarding that, I would like to know what's your opinion about the role of investing in innovation towards a low carbon economy. What's your view on that, on the importance of investing in innovation?
So I will explain in a different way. So when I born, I understood, and even when I met Planetiers and Sergio 7.5 years ago, it's a lot of time, and today I see I'm older, but the planet's still a little younger. I don't see the planet getting older, but I'm getting older. But one thing I understood in my generation, we were the first generation, your generation, by the way, we were the first generation to get this climate crisis, but we are the last one to solve it. So I have no chance. All my economic base and investment should be responsible. We are the last generation to solve this planet. We have a lot of crazy political persons. They don't believe this is really important. But if we don't solve it, you will see another. This is not only about environment. It's about the stability of health. It's about this new disease, all these problems in the planet. Planet, we must not forget, is our Mother Earth. We are a tiny pixel, by the way, in all this universe. And as Satya said sometimes, we are very focused to go to Mars, to a lot of planets, but we are already in the space. Planet Earth is on the space. if we take care about this planet, I don't see, to answer you directly, I didn't see any way in terms of investment, to be serious investment, that will not be related to this. That don't make sense. First of all, I don't need to work. I'm very happy with nothing. It's about my mental way of being. But I have the responsibility, because I have power in my organization, to change a little. And if we can, in our profession, in our work, if we are focused to change and to spread this message to everyone, we will succeed. And we must not forget, I grew up saying better, my mother said, my father, oh, let's do a better world for our children. No, I think they are wrong. It's about better children to this world. So that's what I feel. So we must prepare all this generation, and not to change our world. No, we must bring a new generation that are much better prepared to this planet. So the focus of our investment is everything based on this. To be true, I don't feel the accomplish of the financial entities. Only 2 or 3 in Portugal, they are accomplished with us. The other, they should not exist, is my opinion. Mm-hmm. They only care about numbers, selling the bank, buy the bank, selling the bank. They are greedy. They don't fit in the values that I have to this planet. So you are a person with a lot of power in your profession, for sure. If you understand this, you can make a lot of alerts. What is today, the planet make 4 trillion transactions per day. The planet GDP, as you know, should be like 80 trillion. So we are making $4 to $5 trillion transactions per day. So we get the planet GDP in less than 20 days. What they are doing, what we are doing, is my question. It's about a lack of money. The world is full of money. That's not true. It's about greeding or not greeding. It's about to react. And I'm focused on that. And I truly believe all of us, we are focused on that. And if the media are focused on that, the journalists are focused on that, I think we'll change. We'll do it much, much faster.
So you seem skeptical on corporate greed, on politics, but you are optimistic on your generation and the ability to put forward and even to compromise the following generations to save the planet.
Yes, because look to sustainable report of Apple, look to sustainable report of Google, even Tesla. They are much bigger than the financial report. In Portugal, no. Mm-hmm. The financial report are much bigger and important than sustainable report. I remember that Apple, 6 years ago, the sustainable report was much more important and priority in the company than the financial report. But we live in the prehistoric, maybe in 10 years we'll be there. But it's about us, it's about you, as I told you, because you are a game changer too. So it's about us to be focused, but at the end of the day, we bring a lot of debt to our generation, our sons. I have a great son, a grandson, by the way. And when I look to them, I only see this guy, this girl will pay a lot of taxes, because it's taxes, more taxes. And no one is focused on the most important thing, that is react to this crisis, and we are the last generation to solve it. And I'm really worried about that. For me, that's a huge debt. If we can't handle with this situation, we will not have time. I don't know if it's 10 years, 20 years. We have an airspace company, and one thing I am sure, the last photos of the planet of the last 40 years, all the pictures of the planets are more gray, 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 gray. We are sitting a little, in the last 10 years, a little better, because we start working. But it's really important to look to the pictures of the planet from satellites. And we gray, 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 and now we are a little better. Something have changed, is my understanding.
That's inspiring. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.